sleuths.
While there's still no word on a cure for the virus,
report suspicious activity and call 911.
I can give you every assurance, Mr. Rudy, that Gareth is ill and he's
Howdy, folks, and welcome back to another episode of your favorite podcast, That Would Be Rad. We are a podcast that majors in 80s and 90s nostalgia, comic culture, all things paranormal, and minors in retro video games, tabletop RPGs, tabletop RPGs, pre-internet mysteries, and trying to raise our kids to be half as cool as we were back in the 80s. We're your hosts, Woody Brown
and Tyler Benz.
Boy,
hey pal, how we doing?
Hey man, I'm doing pretty good. Although I gotta be honest, I'm not sure if I might leave it in. But that intro, for whatever reason, I stumbled a fair amount of times.
Yeah,
and I don't know, I just don't feel with it.
Yeah, it hit me last week. The same thing. What's weird too is like we've said this same intro like between Woody and I
a couple hundred times
a piece, and it is kind of like muscle memory. So when suddenly you just like draw a blank, it's like,
huh?
Oh god,
yeah, where am I?
Am I losing it? Like, this is it?
I'm
this
sure,
is the first sign.
Dude. I'm sure we've talked about. I was so guilty of this when we were on tour and stuff because you just get so used to doing it. It's so repetitive and everything that when you start actually like thinking for a second,
it screws you up.
Oh man, totally messes you up.
Yeah.
And next thing you know, you have to play the Counting Crow song twice. Okay, that's not what we're here to
folks,
talk about.
Let's take it again.
Yeah. Okay. So look, if you're new to the show, if you've been a longtime listener, you're going to know that when it comes to conspiracy theories, me personally, not Tyler, but me, I'm typically not a huge fan of them, to be
Total
honest.
loser.
Okay, well, it's just mainly because it's just, especially nowadays, it's way too easy given the speed that we're capable of communicating with billions of people at once via the internet, social media, etc. You know, things can get out of hand really quickly. Now, you sprinkle a heavy dose of confirmation bias and echo chambers, and it's pretty easy to see how even the biggest skeptics will begin to kind of scratch their chins, squint their eyes, and think, you know what? They might be onto something here.
Yeah.
And I don't know. And like I've said this before on the show too, most of the time, so many of these types of topics and stuff, they just get on my nerves and simply they just don't entertain me for the most part. Now, all of that being said, of all the categories of conspiracy theories that exist, the two that I'm actually almost immediately drawn into,
Blue Beam?
No, despite my overwhelming dislike for them in general, are anything and everything that has to do with music, musicians or whatever, and pop culture.
Yeah.
So, for example, we did a giant-sized episode on the Andrew WK conspiracy in season 2 of our show.
Still one of the best episodes.
Yeah, and we even revisited it at the end of season 3, for example.
Hear more about this on That Would Be Rad, season 2, episode 4, the Andrew WK conspiracy, and season 3, episode 46, the Andrew WK conspiracy revisited.
There are a couple others, not a couple, there's many others that we just haven't done yet. For example, everything as simple as like The Dark Side of the Moon and Wizard of Oz.
Which, by the way, have you done that in a while?
No. I think it's easier now because you can do, actually, I know you and I have talked about this. I think there's a YouTube video where they do it. They synced it up for you. You don't even have to wait by the VHS and the record player at the same time. It's done for you, which, you know, we talk about the bad part about the internet. There's an example of good.
Now, I will say concerning that, and this isn't me diverging or driving away from the dots, but as far as that goes, the first time through, in my opinion, is, if it wasn't planned, it is immaculate. Like, it is divinely created. You can say we live in a simulation. You can say whatever. Like, if they truly didn't, which they claim after all these years that it's all just a myth, that it just
or like
it's
a
just,
coincidence or whatever.
Yeah, it's just a coincidence. But dude, I'm telling you, it lines up flawlessly.
It's so awesome, man.
However, a lot of people try to say, no, you like if it loops again, and it's the second one. I've never had luck after the first full time through the album. Mm-hmm. Like to me, there's a few things that it's like that could could work, but like overall, I think just the first time through on the album is the way to go.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to do it again.
Yeah,
and I mean now that they're playing the Wizard of Oz at the Dome or whatever it's called, what is it? The Sphere. Which I've seen images of that, man, where there's like tornadoes and stuff, and they blow wind in there.
Dude, I'm telling you.
It looks amazing. Now, imagine if they threw Dark Side of the Moon on that, man, like on Halloween or something. Come
amazing. Yeah, dude, I know I said it whenever I went to Vegas a while back, but I still stand by it. The Sphere it absolutely destroys anything by Disney, Universal. It is the most visually impressive thing I've ever seen. Yeah. So seeing that in the Sphere would be
just epic.
Yeah.
There's that one, of course. Then there's the Led Zeppelin stuff, Jim Morrison and his ties to the government. Maybe the most infamous, really, is the Paul is Dead conspiracy,
which is my favorite.
There's Avril Lavigne being replaced by a clone named Melissa. There's even one about Stevie Wonder not even being blind. So there's also one, dude, about Keanu Reeves. Have you heard this?
No, what is this?
Being immortal.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of this.
If anybody deserves it, it'd be him. He's like the coolest dude maybe of all time.
Yeah, some of those aren't even conspiracy. Like all the Laurel Canyon people having fathers.
Hold on. Yes. You're right there. But let's save that for that episode, because today's conspiracy, when I heard this one, not only did it make me laugh immediately, but then as I dove a little bit further, I have to be honest, I now found myself scratching my chin, squinting my eyes, and thinking, you know what? There just might be something here.
Yeah, I sort of tossed this to Woody. And to be honest, I had heard about it numerous times, but I'd never really done like a deep dive. Mm-hmm. So when I tossed it to Woody and he kind of started going, I'm kind of excited to hear the details, because I only know about it sort of like in a tertiary kind of, loosely.
Oh, okay.
So I'm, I'm really excited today to get into it.
Now, I don't want to, spoil anything, but I'll say, like, on the surface, I was like, whoa, something's here. I then ended up developing a theory of my own that I think, I don't know, I think it's even more fascinating, truthfully, but we'll get to that closer to the end. Mm-hmm. So in today's episode, folks, we are diving into the conspiracy theory that Garth Brooks, America's most famous country music superstar, is secretly a serial killer. So before we get into murder boards with red string and Garth's supposed basement full of bodies, let's kind of set the stage here, because in order for this whole conspiracy theory to make sense, or at least I think for it to be as kind of humorous in some ways as it is, you kind of need to understand just how massive Garth Brooks really is. I'm really kind of saying this for the benefit of those that, I don't know, whatever corner of the world that they're in, they might, especially nowadays, I guess, but even still, man, it's hard for me to believe that anybody doesn't know who Garth Brooks is. Oh, yeah, dude. We got to rewind it back to the early 90s when, in my opinion, and look, I'm not a country music fan, really. Despite my heritage of my family being from Texas, I just don't, now hold on a second. Those of you that are getting angry when I say that, do I, love George Strait? Absolutely. Yeah. Okay?
Brooks and Dunn.
Okay, yes, but there's this period in the 90s when, to me, country music was just awesome, because there was like a little bit of sort of pop music crossover. But then there were the real country artists, the ones that were still writing their own music and not just sort of Nashville watered down stuff. Yeah, was just great, man. You got George Strait, Reba McEntire, Clint Black,
Trisha Yearwood.
Garth Brooks, Trisha Yearwood, and it was just incredible. So Garth kind of took country out of sort of these, I mean, he's the one that really became, in my opinion, and I could be way wrong, but he just kind of exploded across the scene.
Oh, yeah.
He was one of the first country artists to do pyrotechnics. He had the headset mic. Remember that?
Headset, yeah.
The stage dives. I mean, he basically made country music concerts almost more like rock shows.
Yeah, for sure.
And at the time, I mean, especially what they were up against in terms of genre versus genre, you had everything from grunge to like Britpop and everything. All the while, Garth Brooks is still selling out venues and stadiums. And just by the mid-'90s, he was outselling everyone. And I don't just mean everybody in country, I mean everyone. He sold over 170 million records worldwide.
Wow.
Dude, that makes him the best-selling solo artist in U.S. history, more than Elvis, more than Michael Jackson, more than Madonna, and more than Taylor Swift, although it gets a little wonky because things are done a little differently now. The metrics have kind of changed. They do like download metrics and,
Yeah.
Even so, I think she still hasn't caught up to Garth.
Yeah, no, which is kind of interesting because I didn't realize until I looked that first album of his that had like all the huge hits, it came out in 1990. Mm-hmm. For some reason, I was thinking it was like mid-'90s.
No,
or later.
I think like his tours around the time when we were like mid-teenagers, mid-'90s kind of brought back that, I don't know, people, it was just like he had this ability, just like a lot of artists do, to where, their fourth record or third record is so big that people go and buy the back catalog. And then it becomes a bestseller again. And it's just like, it was just this cycle for him that would happen.
Yeah.
And, he has 7 albums that have gone diamond. That's 10 million copies each.
Well, but also coming out as his first album, I mean, it had, that's what had Friends in Low Places, which was like, I mean, dude.
Oh, I don't think there's a person on the planet, even if you're not a country music star, fan, that if that comes on in a bar or something, everybody's singing the words, dude. Everyone knows that song.
Yeah. The funny thing is so Woody and I had like very different sort of backgrounds with how we grew up when we were like, kids pretty much. Mm-hmm. I mean, granted, Woody was already a teenager when I was like starting.
1 year. We're 1 year difference.
But
and I'm the younger one.
I grew up, and I've said this for our long-time listeners, you already know this. I grew up in a very rural setting with like farmers and very blue collar, and so like they were just huge country music fans, and I hated it. Every now and then there would be a song that, because I had to work with my uncle, working at his body shop or working in the pasture or driving a tractor, and like every now and then I would hear a song that was like, oh, that's pretty cool. But like overall, I was such a contrarian little jerk that I just, it's like you go against what you grow up with, and now I can look back and I look so fondly at that stuff. And like Woody said, I love like, especially that 90s era country, Travis Tritt, Brooks and Dunn, Trisha Yearwood. I love all that stuff now, but
Alan Jackson.
Oh man, he was huge too.
Huge.
Yeah. But no, you're exactly right. Garth was like he really did elevate sort of the mega stardom for a country music. I mean, again, you had like I think too the pinnacle up until like the 90s was like, oh yeah, they're on the Grand Ole Opry, or they're that was like, oh, you've reached it as a country musician. Whereas this, it was like, oh, no. He's like, this country guy is doing things that like Michael Jackson was doing.
Right.
Which again, at the time was as high as you can get.
Right. And also like so much of it had to do not only with the good songs and, all of this being said.
He's kind of awesome.
Yes. He was wholesome. Right, he was like the all-American guy. He wasn't like the outlaw country singers like Willie puffing on a joint on stage, or Waylon Jennings, getting into bar fights, or what's his name? All my rowdy friends are coming on over tonight. Hank Williams.
Hank Williams Jr.
Yeah,
or no,
third, right?
It is Junior. Right? It is Junior. Yeah,
okay, Junior. And he was just a nice guy, right? He had in sort of the perspective of us, the public. It's like you look up there, he has the hat, the plaid shirts. I think he's even got on a cover, maybe one that's like the American flag, all buttoned up and, you know, kind of this Oklahoma and sort of Tennessee charm. And he was the guy that, you know, my parents would, or my aunts and uncles and everybody would just be like, he's just such a nice guy. You can go to that concert. Nothing's going to happen there, right? And I think this is why, or part of the reason why, this conspiracy theory kind of hit so hard. It's because it takes that guy
right
and kind of flips the script.
Real quick, and I just have to say this. So you just mentioned Hank Williams Jr. and Hank Williams Sr. You know how you've always thought of Hank Williams Sr. as being like an old man?
Yeah.
Do you know when he died?
I mean, not that long ago, right?
No. Like how old he was when he died?
I don't know, man. 33.
No, dude, 29 years old.
What?
Yeah, dude.
Wow.
It's so crazy because he looks older than his son does now.
Yeah. When I think of him, I think of like a black and white picture of my grandpa.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
Yeah, 29 years old though.
Well, I mean, it was just a tough time back then, you know?
I mean, he was going for it.
So this sort of wholesome character that Garth had kind of developed over time, we can't forget that this conspiracy theory isn't the only time when weirdness kind of starts to creep in, because at the absolute height of his career, I'm talking about like he's untouchable, right? He's selling out stadiums. He's dominating the charts. And Garth decides that he wants to become somebody else. Ladies and gentlemen, enter Chris Gaines.
Oh, gosh.
Now, we'll kind of dive deeper into him, this character, I guess, or caricature later. But just know this. Imagine Garth Brooks, okay? He puts on a black wig, has a soul patch, leather jackets, and suddenly he's this tortured Australian rock star.
Wait, Australian?
Dude, not even joking, okay?
I didn't know this.
It's like a full-blown alter ego, complete with fake biography. I'm going to say quote-unquote fake biography here. A greatest hits album for a guy who didn't even exist. I mean, that was the first album that came out, Chris Gaines' Greatest Hits. Okay?
Dude, and by the way,
remember there was like a VH1 Behind the Music, and every single interview as, quote, Chris Gaines, he's spoken in an Australian accent.
Dude, I don't remember this at all. So I can say this, like I said, I grew up with like hardcore country music fans. Like right now, on this very day, they are blasting country music in the barn, in the body shop. Like that's just in sort of my family's blood. When he did this Chris Gaines thing, it was like, who the hell is this?
You're right, because it's like, it's emo before emo.
It flopped.
Oh,
like,
boy, did it ever.
So
nobody
hard.
cared. It was really weird.
It was weird.
Nobody could really get a grasp on, like, what is he doing? Why is he doing it?
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
And so it's like, you think about it, in terms of it being like raw material for conspiracy theory, so far we've got a megastar with like ultra global fame. This squeaky clean image that almost feels a little too perfect.
Right.
And then this bizarre mid-career decision to disguise himself as a totally different person. By the way, I don't know if you remember this. Do you remember when Chris Gaines hosted SNL?
No.
So like, I vaguely remember this. Man, I got to dig through my old VHS tapes because I think I might have it. I'm not joking. He like is Chris Gaines, and then he also appears. The Garth Brooks persona appears. It's weird, dude. It's so weird. I'm sure they have a clip online, but.
So one of the things that I've thought about, so when back in the band days for Woody and I, we were massive fans of the Kings of Leon. We had the opportunity to play with them.
Yeah.
But what was interesting is like we were huge fans on like the Aha Shake Heartbreak when it was more like sort of this weird like rockabilly meets like country meets southern rock meets like, you know, it was very different. And then they got asked to tour with U2 and they got to
Oh wait, there's more than
like,
oh, there's more. Yeah,
they got to play on like the massive stage. You know, I know for a fact they were influenced by The Edge. You know, with like delay pedals. And then the next record that comes out is like totally different,
right?
And it sounds more atmospheric and spacey, and there's all delay everywhere and all this kind of stuff. What's weird is I've thought of this Chris Gaines thing in a way, like through the lens of that. Like,
Yeah.
I think he was such a big country music star that suddenly he's kind of a rock star, even though he's playing like country music.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was almost like, oh, well, I'm going to put out a record so that I can be a literal rock star.
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
I'm already kind of doing it with country.
Yes. And it's been said that, like, I think early on in life, he was a rock musician and then kind of just decided he had enough sort of, business sense that he knew it would be kind of easier. Now,
Right.
again, this is going to sound like I'm insulting country musicians, and there are some that exist like today. They're some of the most talented individuals I've ever seen in my life.
Oh, yeah, dude.
But this was sort of him doing this was sort of the beginning of that rumor that, like, country music is where rock musicians go when they fail.
Yeah, that's
right?
true.
And so he was kind of the embodiment of that in a way, because he was a rocker first. But I think that's what really helped him. He brought an edge to country music with this sort of squeaky clean persona that just scooped it up, and everybody just, it just elevated him way high, head and shoulders above everybody else.
Which is kind of weird because that sort of flipped in like the early like 2018 to where suddenly country was like trying to do like Nickelback or like
it was like no, even more, like they would be doing things like, now some were like that, but then others were smart enough to know, like, oops, not the worst band in the world. They would, they're wearing skinny jeans.
yeah,
And
right.
they're adopting that sort of thing. What I was going
by
to
the
say,
way,
though, I never thought of the Chris Gaines thing in that light, and I can totally relate to that. I mean,
Yeah.
you remember after the Modern Society, we were kind of like, hey, man, let's write some music, but I don't even want to plug in. I don't want any pedals. I don't want anything. It was just like acoustic, folk stuff.
I mean, we were so kind of burned from like label stuff and just the way the band, like, unfortunately had to kind of end, that we wanted to do something completely, like, honestly, at that point, I mean, I don't know if you remember me saying this, but like, I legitimately had said at the time, like, I don't think I'll ever play electric guitar again. I just want to play banjo now.
Yeah.
And I, like, we were serious about it.
Yeah.
We
So
made
I've-
the whole thing in your,
Yeah.
in
my
your
old
office.
apartment and stuff. Yeah. Like, I never really thought about the Chris Gaines thing like that, but just imagine from his perspective, he's playing Friends in Low Places every day. He's just tired of it, man.
Oh,
and he
for
wants to do
sure.
something completely different, and it's sort
Yeah.
of like this artistic, thing. I mean, kind of reminds me of Andrew WK in a way.
Yeah.
It just worked better for Andrew WK.
I think unfortunately though, for him, with it being like country first and then doing this, it felt so sort of like affected. Like it felt, it just felt too much like an act.
Oh,
You know, I don't even remember the Australian accent, but that's
oh gosh, dude.
that's insane.
And it's like, dude, there's other stuff about, like, in his backstory to where, like, something about his mom, and then also he was like a sex addict. And it's like,
Yeah, there was,
dude,
like,
just
some
hey,
real-
how about just leave that part out of it?
Well, I think he was kind of doing the almost like, like the Motley Crue, like Dirt book. Like it was I'm sure he was thinking like, oh, I got to add all this like to legitimize me being like a rock star. You know what I mean? Which is like, oh, it's sex, drugs, and rock and roll, and
Yeah,
it's just it did not. It totally missed the mark.
flopped big time.
Yeah.
Okay, so in short here, Garth isn't just big, he's enormous, and he's one of those cultural figures that is so big he kind of becomes mythic almost. And once you hit that level, man, people start to project stories about you. Some people worship you, some people tear you down, and then other people start making PowerPoint presentations about how you're secretly a serial killer.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
At Sierra, discover top workout gear at incredible prices, which might lead to another discovery. Your headphones haven't been connected this whole time. Awkward. Discover top brands at unexpectedly low prices. Sierra, let's get moving.
Does it ever feel like you're a marketing professional just
Speaking into the void.
But with LinkedIn ads, you can know you're reaching the right decision makers, a network of 130 million of them, in fact. You can even target buyers by job title, industry, company, seniority, skills, and did I say job title? See how you can avoid the void and reach the right buyers with LinkedIn ads. Spend $250 on your first campaign and get a free $250 credit for the next one. Get started at linkedin.com/campaign. Terms and conditions apply.
Eczema isn't always obvious, but it's real. And so is the relief from Ebglyss. After an initial dosing phase, about 4 in 10 people taking Ebglyss achieved itch relief and clear or almost clear skin at 16 weeks. And most of those people maintain skin that's still more clear at 1 year with monthly dosing.
Ebglyss, lebrikizumab, LBKZ, a 250 milligram per 2 milliliter injection, is a prescription medicine used to treat adults and children 12 years of age and older who weigh at least 88 pounds or 40 kilograms with moderate to severe eczema, also called atopic dermatitis, that is not well controlled with prescription therapies used on the skin or topicals, or who cannot use topical therapies. Ebglyss can be used with or without topical corticosteroids. Don't use if you're allergic to Ebglyss. Allergic reactions can occur that can be severe. Eye problems can occur. Tell your doctor if you have new or worsening eye problems. You should not receive a live vaccine when treated with Ebglyss. Before starting Ebglyss, tell your doctor if you have a parasitic infection.
Searching for real relief? Ask your doctor about Ebglyss and visit ebglyss.lilly.com or call 1-800-LILY-RX or 1-800-545-5979.
When did making plans get this complicated? It's time to streamline with WhatsApp, the secure messaging app that brings the whole group together. Use polls to settle dinner plans. Send event invites and pin messages so no one forgets Mom's 60th. And never miss a meme or milestone. All protected with end-to-end encryption. It's time for WhatsApp. Message privately with everyone. Learn more at whatsapp.com.
The new Popeyes and Hot Ones menu is fire flavor. Trust me because I'm about to eat it. Woo! That hits right away. Attempt the Popeyes Hot Ones menu in stores. Love that chicken from Popeyes. Limited time in participating U.S. restaurants.
En Prime Big Deal Days, este 7 y 8 de octubre, aprovecha grandes ofertas en un nuevo spa de pies. Te transformará en la reina de la relajación.
¡Espera! ¡Tiene chorros de burbujas!
Aprovecha hasta 40% menos en Prime Big Deal Days 7 y 8 de octubre. Con las grandes ofertas de Prime Big Deal Days este 7 y 8 de octubre, la grandeza está en tus manos. Así que si te encanta hornear, puedes conseguir una oferta en una nueva batidora de pie. Te transformará en el príncipe del pan.
¡Atención, atención! Abre paso al varón del brioche, al visconde del bizcocho y al conde de los cuernitos, miembro de Prime, Juan.
Sí, ¿hola?
Aprovecha hasta 40% de descuento en Prime Big Deal Days 7 y 8 de octubre.
This episode is brought to you by State Farm. Checking off the boxes on your to-do list is a great feeling. And when it comes to checking off coverage, a State Farm agent can help you choose an option that's right for you. Whether you prefer talking in person, on the phone, or using the award-winning app, it's nice knowing you have help finding coverage that best fits your needs. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Heather is a nurse practitioner from United Healthcare.
We meet patients wherever they live.
During a house call, she found Jack had an issue.
Jack's blood pressure was dangerously high.
It was 217 over 110.
So they got Jack to the hospital and got him the help he needed.
He had had a stent placed in his heart, preventing a massive heart attack.
If it wasn't for my guardian angel, I wouldn't be here.
Hear more stories like Jack's at unitedhealthcare.com. Benefits, features, and/or devices vary by plan, area, limitation, and exclusions apply.
It's the Smucker's Uncrustables podcast with your host, Uncrustables. Okay, today's guest is rough around the edges. Please welcome Crust.
Thanks for having me.
Today's topic, he's round with soft, pillowy bread.
Hey.
Filled with delicious PB&J.
Are you talking about yourself?
And you can take him anywhere.
Why'd you invite?
And we are out of time.
Are you really cutting me off?
Uncrustables are the best part of the sandwich. Sorry, Crust.
It's a pretty cool place if you're a Martian.
Or a vampire. You think you really know what's happening around here, don't you?
Is anyone out there?
We're fighters for truth, justice, and the American way.
Hey, this is Woody.
And this is Tyler. And you're listening to That Would Be Rad.
And now, back to our show. And so where did it all begin, right? Where did the origins of this idea start? Well, okay. From what I could find, I guess it's because it didn't come from, a police report or some shady unsolved case or even like a Reddit true crime thread initially. It actually started with a comedian named Tom Segura.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you're not familiar with him, he's a stand-up comedian. He's a co-host of a couple podcasts, one of them being Two Bears, One Cave with Bert Kreischer.
Mm-hmm.
And his brand of humor is so, deadpan that, I don't know, the way he delivers stuff is just hilarious sometimes. And he also has a podcast with his wife. And this all kind of started several years ago when he would just kind of casually make jokes about Garth Brooks. He would at first focus on things about just how like awkward and weird Garth actually is.
Yeah.
Now, growing up back then, I had never noticed it. Okay. In fact, I don't even know really if I'd ever even seen many interviews with Garth. Again, it wasn't really what I was listening to, so I wasn't looking out for that kind of stuff. I was just like, yeah, but he's on TV next.
Yeah.
And
also during that time, like it was such a different time. So everything, long before like the internet, to where now we're able to see like the good, the bad, and the ugly side of like our heroes and our celebrities and stuff. Back then it was like, it was so well curated that you were only seeing like what they wanted you to see.
Right, exactly. Like everything was perfectly structured, and and I'll get to that in a minute too. But so Tom and his wife, but also on Two Bears, One Cave, this has been like an ongoing sort of bit. He even brings it up in one of his specials, his comedy specials.
Oh, wow.
And he talks about how he goes, let's see. He talks about how he has this serial killer smile. It's kind of like, too perfect. It's like this weird sort of smile. Again, something that I never noticed until now, and now I can't stop thinking about it.
Yeah, right.
So he makes this joke, people laugh, and then, because of the day and age that we're in, people kind of take that clip and it just runs wild on TikTok and Reddit and stuff. Because I think like the joke starts with like, something about him totally being a serial killer. He's making fun of his smile.
Well, no, I thought he was like first just kind of, they were just like talking, like kind of making fun of him. And then I think a listener wrote in and was like, oh, you should check out the serial killer theory. And then it just became a whole thing.
So so he and his wife, but man, I'm telling you, if you get a chance, you got to go back and watch. It wouldn't be that interesting to kind of throw in a clip here necessarily. I'll have some probably, but you have to see it, because whenever they're describing his smile and stuff, and then they show these like interviews of Garth, dude, it is the funniest thing ever, because you're like, holy smokes, dude, totally weird.
Creepy though?
I mean, yeah, if you look at it through the lens of this guy is a possible serial, it's what it reminds me of is just a guy that's just, I don't know, socially awkward.
Yeah.
And like the thing about it too is, so after all this stuff started getting shared, it kind of just like blew up. People started to comment on his official fake Facebook page and stuff. And this was just after like the comedy special, okay? They would flood his Instagram posts with, hey, what happened in Tulsa, Garth? Or, like just different stuff. I'll get to that too in just a second. But Garth Brooks, though, he's not really as internet savvy as, of course, somebody like Taylor Swift or all the artists in this next generation coming up, where they utilize this as their way to, again, curate their image.
Right.
But they do so in such, like, in an amount that is so much more than we had access to. I mean, I'll never forget seeing an interview of Oasis, like in between What's the Story, Morning Glory, and Be Here Now. And all of a sudden, Liam like shaved his head? And just being like, whoa. And that was on magazine covers. I mean, that's the day and age, kids.
NME.
Right, yeah, NME. Yeah. That's the day and age when someone's haircut made the news. Now it's like we would have seen this on social media and it would just been like, oh yeah, okay, cool. He dyed his hair blonde. You know what I mean?
Next.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Swipe. So he's not really like engaging with fans. He doesn't really do non-scripted stuff like podcasts and stuff. Because honestly, my theory is that he's just kind of weird, honestly.
Yeah.
So he never really kind of came out when all this stuff started getting like hugely popular and just viral.
And so when would you say, like, how long? Because that's the thing. I've heard about it for a while, but I don't know like when.
Maybe like 3 or 4 years, man. Max. Yeah, it's relatively fresh.
Right.
And because he never really, there's never an official statement or anything, that silence is sort of, people are kind of like, whoa, what? Maybe he is hiding something.
Right.
Like, why wouldn't he just be like, oh, I'm going to sue you? You know what I mean?
Which, by the way, I do think that is a tough, like with any sort of accusation, it is tough because like people are going to say like, oh, well, if he does come out and defend himself, he's guilty.
Right.
And then it's like, oh, well, if he doesn't come out, he's guilty.
Yeah, they call it, there's an actual like name for this too. It's called the Streisand effect because back in 2003, Barbra Streisand sued a photographer who had taken aerial photos of the California coastline. They were doing it for like environmental documentation or something. And one of the photos happened to show her mansion in Malibu. And so she sued him. And at the time, no one even noticed or cared about some mansion, right? But once she tried to suppress it, the story kind of exploded in the news.
Right.
Photo gets shared everywhere. And so the Streisand effect essentially is shorthand for when someone's trying to hide or silence something, but by doing so, it makes it much more visible.
Right.
Yeah. And so I think that's potentially what's going on here. After that, the internet detective phase sort of began where people were just kind of pulling up maps, digging through missing persons databases, comparing them to his tour schedule. And wouldn't you know it, of course, if you play, I think at this point it's close to 1,000 shows across 30 years or something, there's going to be some overlap. And so people would comment and on these message boards and stuff, and they'd be like, look, he was in Dallas the same weekend a college student goes missing. He was in Florida when this guy disappeared. And from there, it just kind of snowballed. We're talking like TikTok videos, of course, with like ominous music, Reddit threads with blurry screenshots, people making jokes at concerts. Is this where he picks the next victim? And then like that, okay? And we're going to get to some of the quote unquote evidence in just a second, but you couple this with this infamous Chris Gaines era, and people just kind of get knee deep in conspiracy mode. And there's also this quote, man, from a 1989 TV interview where it was the host, what would you call that? Like the newscaster or whatever, whoever it is, asks Garth.
Now, I know you have, I think, a role in Nashville Beat.
Right.
We're going to show a clip in a minute, but have you thought about expanding that and going on to the movies, maybe be a cowboy?
Yeah, I told them if they ever need somebody to be a bad guy, which is weird, I'd love to be a bad guy.
No, you don't want to be a bad guy, no. I mean, you look like a good guy, you know?
Okay, I guess. I'd rather kill somebody.
Oh, you would?
That'd be fun.
What?
And
well, wait a minute. So he says this
1989, bro.
Oh, this is
just part of it. Like people are just digging through the internet. They find this clip.
I thought you were saying that it happened like after this rumor.
No.
And I'm like, Jesus.
Yeah. Now it's like, okay, well then, arrest him.
He's just like trolling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no. This is 1989. Before his biggest album is about to come out. He's on his television show and he says, "I'd rather kill somebody."
Serial killer smile.
Yeah. And then the smile.
Jeez.
I mean, it's just, it's you can see all of these things creating the perfect storm. Why I initially was like, okay, whoa. And that's, that's just on the surface. It was before I even heard any of the compelling sort of what people call evidence. So this is the biggest one, and that is the tour date overlaps, all right? This is the pillar that the entire Garth Brooks is a serial killer empire is sort of built on. Well, and people with a lot of free time, and that's, again, what I was talking about at the beginning. We have the ability, I should say, and in some cases the opportunity, to be able to communicate with billions of people at once, okay?
Yeah.
Out of all these billions of people, some of them who have more time than, say, a parent or whatever, can just spend days, weeks, months researching and combing the internet for everything that they can, right? And then spread that across the other billions of people, right? And so that's kind of what happened here. These armchair detectives started to cross-reference Garth's tour schedule with missing person reports.
Smart.
And wouldn't you know it, in city after city, you got people disappearing or unsolved murders right around the time Garth was rolling into town or rolling out of town.
Wow.
Now, when you first see some of these graphics that exist, you know, like they have like charts and all this, they do look pretty compelling. I'm not joking. It's like, imagine a map of the U.S. with little red dots for Garth concerts and little black dots for missing people. And sure enough, there's a ton of overlap.
Wow.
So here are some of the ones, okay? Indianapolis, 1993. A young woman walking home from a bar just blocks away from Market Square Arena where Brooks is performing. She never makes it home. Chicago, same year. 3 women vanish in 1 week while Brooks plays 6 sold-out shows in Oklahoma.
Whoa.
But while that is scary on its own, and again, when you see all these dates sort of lining up with this tour schedule, you're like, man alive, I mean, that's pretty... But the scariest part is that internet sleuths were able to find that it didn't just happen when he was a famous touring musician. In fact, they found instances that they could connect to before he even became famous.
Right.
For example, when Garth went to college in Oklahoma, there was a woman that went to the same college, and she ended up murdered, and their apartments, his, you know, Garth's apartment and this woman's apartment, were only a few miles away from one another.
And that was like, wasn't that like a pretty big case? Like, it was kind of a bigger profile case, I think.
Yeah, I think so. So he makes a move from Oklahoma to Nashville. He's still pretty young. He knows that he makes that decision that I kind of talked about earlier where, you know, I don't really want to do this rock and roll thing anymore. I'm going to move to Nashville. I'm going to try country. I think I could break into that. But as he is still a struggling musician, you know, playing when he can, not making a lot of money, he's got to have a job. And he works at, I don't know, like Boot Barn or something like that. And listen to this, man. There's like 3 people that end up going missing that were in the vicinity of the Boot Barn where he was working.
Wow.
Okay. And then there's just countless things like this. There's a story about a girl who was at this, not necessarily a truck stop, but one of those big, like almost like a Pilot or a Love's, one of those big, huge gas stations.
And I guess Buc-ee's now. What kind of?
And she was there. Her family knew that she was there, and she just went missing. And when they went to interview folks to kind of try to find her, the witnesses basically said, like, I don't know. There was this guy who was about 6 foot tall, and he, you know, had blue jeans on, and he was just kind of talking to her, kind of close to these big trucks that were kind of parked over there in a big, bus. Boom, missing.
Man.
And this was just like kind of in between his tour stops. So many people begin to think, like, what is going on? And another thing that's really interesting is when Garth kind of, again, he's this struggling musician in Nashville. He's living in a crummy apartment. And when he finally gets that first big paycheck, right, and it's like roughly $500,000. Okay.
This is interesting to me.
He is still working at the Boot Barn or whatever, and he
broke.
He's just broke as a joke. Okay, he gets $500,000, and back in the early '90s, late '80s, whatever, and that's a lot of money.
Oh yeah.
Now, does he go out and buy a
car,
Ferrari? Yeah, or like a Honda Civic for that matter. Does he go out and get his first house? It doesn't even have to be a mansion, but just like a nice house.
Yeah.
No. What he does is he buys 20 to 30 acres of just raw land. Now, this fueled the internet theory that he has this mansion and uses this land to allegedly bury the bodies.
No. But I thought that his house isn't even on that property, because I think the sort of the damning evidence of that is like he just buys this like raw property kind of out in the middle of nowhere, and then he doesn't really have the intention of like even building on it.
Yeah, maybe you're right. I don't know.
I could be wrong on that, but I'm pretty
what
sure.
What I do know, however, is that after he purchased that land, there was a spike in missing person reports around the area.
We will return after these messages.
Imagine fast hydration combined with balanced energy, perfectly flavored with 0 artificial sweeteners. Introducing Liquid IV's new Energy Multiplier Sugar-Free. Unlike other energy drinks, you know, the ones that make you feel like you're glitching, it's made with natural caffeine and electrolytes, so you get the boost without the burnout. Liquid IV's new Energy Multiplier Sugar-Free Hydrating Energy. Tap the banner to learn more.
This message is sponsored by Greenlight. With school out, summer is the perfect time to teach our kids real-world money skills they'll use forever. Greenlight is a debit card and the #1 family finance and safety app used by millions of families, helping kids learn how to save, invest, and spend wisely. Parents can send their kids money and track their spending and saving, while kids build money confidence and skills in fun ways. Start your risk-free Greenlight trial today at greenlight.com/Spotify. That's greenlight.com/Spotify.
Ford Blue Cruise hands-free highway driving takes the work out of being behind the wheel, allowing you to relax and reconnect, while also staying in control. Enjoy the drive in Blue Cruise-enabled vehicles like the F-150, Explorer, and Mustang Mach-E. Available feature on equipped vehicles. Terms apply. Does not replace safe driving. See Ford.com/Blue Cruise for more details.
My marathon isn't about time. It's about my 26 friends with intellectual disabilities I'm dedicating each mile to. I'm Joseph. I'm running my first Bank of America Chicago Marathon for Special Olympics Illinois to help give my friends a place to shine.
Join Bank of America in supporting Joseph's cause. Give if you can at BofA.com/supportjoseph. What would you like the power to do? Bank of America. References to charitable organizations is not an endorsement by Bank of America Corporation.
Doug. Here we have the Limu Emu in its natural habitat, helping people customize their car insurance and save hundreds with Liberty Mutual. Fascinating. It's accompanied by his natural ally, Doug.
Limu? Is that guy with the binoculars watching us?
Cut the camera. They see us.
Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Savings vary. Underwritten by Liberty Mutual Insurance Company and affiliates. Excludes Massachusetts.
This podcast is supported by FX's English Teacher. Last year's critically acclaimed series returns to follow Evan, Gwen, and Marky as they vie for their students' divided attention. See why Cosmopolitan called its premiere season a masterclass of comedy, while Glamour raved it's the year's funniest and most heartwarming new comedy series. FX's English Teacher returns September 25th on FX. All episodes streaming on Hulu.
Only Murders in the Building, Season 5.
The hit Hulu original is back.
The night Lester died, he was talking with this mobster.
Was he killed in a hit? We need to go face to face with the mob. Get ready for a season.
Buongiorno, signore.
Oh, this is how I die.
You can't refuse.
You're gonna save the day, like you always do, by being smart, sharp, and almost always by mistake.
The Hulu original series, Only Murders in the Building, premieres September 9th. Streaming on Hulu and Hulu on Disney Plus for bundle subscribers. Terms apply. New episodes Tuesdays.
This episode is brought to you by FXX and Hulu. An all-new season of Futurama is back, blending heartfelt moments with razor-sharp humor while accidentally saving the day. The Planet Express crew is back, defying gravity and common sense. From the creator of The Simpsons comes 10 new episodes where the romance is hotter, the threats are bigger, and the action hits harder. Don't miss the all-new season of Futurama. Watch it Mondays on FXX or stream it on Hulu.
It's Pro Savings Days at Lowe's. Get up to 35% off select major appliances and save an additional $1,000 when you buy 4 select LG major appliances. Plus, get a free DeWalt 20-volt Max 5 amp-hour battery when you buy a select DeWalt 20-volt Max tool. Get the job done for less at Lowe's. We help, you save. Valid through 9/26. Selection varies by location. While supplies last. See associate or Lowe's.com for more details and qualifying items.
If you thought goldenly breaded McDonald's chicken couldn't get more golden, think Golden. Because new sweet and smoky special edition gold sauce is here. Made for your chicken favorites. At participating McDonald's for a limited time.
There's something out there waiting for us. And it ain't no dead.
Hey, this is Woody.
And this is Tyler. And you're listening to That Would Be Rad.
And now, back to our show. That's wild, man.
That's crazy. And I will say, I think it's worth noting that, especially in this time, before musicians had to start sort of like kind of minding their P's and Q's, like groupies and that whole kind of culture was like very alive and well. I mean, even when we were still doing it, but like back then, I mean, for somebody of his sort of, or not even of his caliber, but somebody just that was like touring, like it's kind of the perfect cover because it's like, oh yeah, I don't even know this girl's name, and she came back to the hotel or she came back to the bus, and then it's like, yeah, then we dropped her off, and then that was it, and so you kind of do have like a perfect cover. So, while everybody on the bus, maybe like the band or the driver, your like tour manager, whoever else, like even to them, it kind of adds up because it's like, oh yeah, Garth just went out, he met some girl in a bar and he came back, later on. Like even to them, it's kind of a good cover story. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Oh, for sure, man. And like also, it's a environment that's just ripe for bad things to happen anyway. Like let's just say, for example, he's a good guy and all this, but they drop off this girl at this gas station. Well, now, it's 2 a.m.
Yeah.
It's 3 a.m. Something can happen, And so you got the tour date overlaps. Then you've got the Chris Gaines alter ego. And some of I didn't mention it previously, but again, in 99, this was 1999, height of his fame, he just creates this other character. Full backstory. Born in Australia, tragic family history, scars from a car crash. Okay? What? Moody eyeliner. Yeah. He was supposed to star in a movie called The Lamb, which never even got made. And then, of course, he released an entire quote-unquote greatest hits album, which I remember when it came out to him, like, greatest hits, man. Is there other stuff? Like, what is going on here?
I had forgotten about that, yeah.
And,
Well, I think that was the thing. He was kind of selling it as, like, this rock musician that had been around for a long time.
Right. And initially, it was like there was no connection to Garth Brooks. Like he was supposed to be like a different person,
Now, as far as like the serial killer sort of urban legend goes, none of that came out. That came like way later, like recently.
Yes, recently. Not
so
then.
Nobody had any idea.
No idea, but they use this right, as they should, I guess, in that they're like, oh, okay, this is him testing out the ability to live a double life.
Wow.
Like, when you see Chris Gaines' photos out of context, it does kind of look like a mugshot from like a true crime documentary. And I mean, like, okay, so honestly, if the police showed you a photo of Chris Gaines, right, and they said, hey, this man is wanted for questioning in connection with 5 disappearances, would you even blink?
Yeah.
No, you'd be like, yep, makes sense.
Yeah, that's the
Hope
one.
You get him.
Yeah.
So then you've got the I'd rather kill somebody quote,
which is so weird because like, yes, it's insensitive, but it's like for somebody to say like, oh, I'd rather kill myself, like that's one thing. But to say I would rather kill someone,
very strange.
That's interesting. Yeah.
Now, do I think Garth literally meant, yes, I would like to murder a human being?
Maybe he did.
Maybe he did, maybe he didn't. No, you know. But I also see it as a young, dude, do you remember the first time we've probably said even worse, like just, no, well, not even worse, but just stupid stuff that we didn't know it, especially whenever you're like on a live interview. You know what I mean? You can't go back and edit it out,
Yeah.
And so it was probably just dumb. He was probably trying to be a little edgy. It was offhand. Right. And then, never said it again. His publicist was like, whoa.
Yeah. Well, also too, I think, you especially then, like what we were saying before like social media and all that, it's like, you really believed that these artists or celebrities were exactly as they were like presented to us. And so that's why, like, I don't know. I remember like the first time hearing, some actor that I loved or whatever, that, they got a DUI or they, and you're just like, how is that even possible?
Right.
Like this person is like squeaky clean, and it's so jarring because, at that time, at least, it's not really now. It's, now that I think the celebrity has like really crumbled as a whole, just in general. But it's like, then it was such a big thing to like, see a celebrity presented as they're presented suddenly kind of like have a behavior that's like, oh, wait a minute, that's not right. Or you hear like, your celebrity like cuss and you're thinking like, oh, they're super squeaky clean. And like even just that little thing would I remember just being jarred as a kid.
Yeah.
So I could imagine that they probably pounced on him and they're like, hey man, you gotta cool it.
Hey man, you gotta cool out.
Yeah, cool out, bro.
It was kind of like that time we saw the lead singer of Jars of Clay at the Pink. Was it Jars of Clay?
No, DC Talk.
Okay, never mind. Anyway, that's incriminating on both ends. All right.
It is.
Now let's talk about this smile, dude.
God, I gotta see it.
You gotta just pull it up right now, okay? It's just, on the surface, it's this huge, toothy, like it's a little too much, like a little more human than human. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. If someone said, if this was an episode about him being an android, I'd be equally intrigued and equally sold. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like he's looking at you and he's like, I'm so happy to be here tonight. I've got a crawl space. You want to come see it?
Dude.
It's the funniest thing.
Hold on. Is this the one you're talking about?
And then like, here's the other part that's just hilarious. Like how dramatic these TikToks are, man. They'll have these like ominous music and then they'll just have
smile.
His smile next to like a slideshow of missing person posters, dude. Exactly, bro.
That's the one.
Yeah, like that's every smile, man.
Dude, that is so funny.
It's so hilarious, man. It almost looks like a joke, dude. It's like something that we would do as it's my face as a joke. Like, hey man, do you like it? And then I just make that smile. I love it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, this is your exact face. Mm-hmm. God, dude, this is amazing. I've never.
Oh boy, that's what I've
never seen this stuff.
You can't unsee it. Like, look at that. He painted his beard on, and then smiled about it. Okay.
Oh my gosh, dude, that is so funny.
And so you've got all these sort of elements.
Which, by the way, do you know that? I guess now that I'm seeing this, I guess Garth Brooks blocked Tom Segura.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So, dude, you've got all these elements that are like leading to people just blasting him on the internet. Okay. Mm-hmm. Well, let me give you some of the examples. All right. People will go onto his official Facebook or his Instagram page. This is after Tom Segura kind of brought it up. Okay. And it just kind of like took on a life of its own. You've got even this guy, what's his name? Matt Cox, I think. He wrote like a book about this now.
Oh, wow. About the serial killer?
Yeah.
Wow.
And so you've got all this stuff, and then people will go on the Facebook page, and it'll be like Garth announcing, let's say, tour dates or like an announcement of some sort of official announcement. You know that it's his team that's doing it, not him. And immediately, right in the comments, somebody's like, "We know what you did."
Which, by the way,
or
dude,
where are the bodies? Or
Matthew
I know
Cox,
you killed my grandma.
That's so funny, dude. The book that you're talking about by Matthew Cox and Pierre Rossini is literally called "Bodies in Low Places."
Yeah.
Jeez.
So now it's like it's just taking a life of its own.
Yeah.
So we kind of like laid out, of course, this so-called evidence. And again, I admit it, if you kind of look at it and you see a TikTok slideshow, I mean, I think initially that's kind of what we would see clips of this and be like, this is because, it's edited with that scary music.
Right.
And it's like, oh my God, Garth Brooks was in Dallas and somebody went missing in Dallas, Yeah. But if you kind of step back, here's, I'm not going to say this is me debunking it. I'm just kind of inserting this element of common sense to it for a second. All right.
Mm-hmm.
First, the math. Okay. The tour date overlaps. Garth Brooks, I think he's played, I don't know what the total number is. I've heard and read different numbers. Some say, 500 concert dates across dozens of cities in the late 80s alone. So I think he's close to like 1,000 tour dates, right? And so he's got all those tour dates in big cities, right? You're not going to find, Garth Brooks was in Atlanta, but somebody went missing in Gainesville. You know what I mean?
Right.
Or, actually, you probably would. More than 500,000 people go missing every single year in our country. 600,000 actually, I think. Yeah. So statistically, if you take any performer who tours nationally, Garth Brooks, Taylor Swift, Metallica, I don't know, Weird Al Yankovic, and you plot their tour stops on a map, you're going to find some overlap, dude.
Yeah,
Right. Mm-hmm. Heck, I bet if we lined up our family vacations with crime reports, you might find some overlap too, especially on Tyler's. Just kidding.
Specifically Woody. He started painting his beard on.
Yeah. Now, you think about, we already kind of talked about this, the weird "I would rather kill somebody" quote. It's a strange thing to say, but I promise you, like, the more you sort of watch him, and now that you kind of, not the lens of, hey, he might be a creeper, but hey, I think he's just socially awkward. You kind of brought it up earlier in that when we were kids, this idea of celebrity was something that was like almost something that somebody would never be able to achieve. They really were sort of almost more human than human. And it was sort of, I don't know, it was difficult to realize that they are just human. Nowadays, it's more evident because we're seeing, even though, again, still it's curated, we're seeing more into their everyday life and they seem more human, and where was I going then? Oh, I think that once you look at it through that lens, you're going to realize, like, this guy just has this huge amount of fame, but at the end of the day, he's just kind of an awkward dude, Right. And I don't know, he's not used to, I don't know, just having that spotlight be even more fine-tuned to where it's like a 24-hour, 7-day a week, 365-day eyeballs on him. And so when it happens, you'll see, like, trust me, everyone, Tyler included, just Google, like, awkward Garth interviews, or there's some that Tom Segura and stuff will play online to where it's him doing like a internet live thing. And they use this as an example of he's never going to go on a podcast like Joe Rogan or something because they've talked about it on there.
Because he's so like awkward.
Yeah, dude. He just can't handle it. So you go watch the thing where he's like live streaming with fans. Someone will ask him a question and the answers that he gives are the most bizarre things ever. I mean, one interview, somebody asked him, like,
come dressed in your full colors, support your team, let's go have some fun, and let's get physical playing music. I like that thought.
Well, I guess it's official. We're now on Facebook. I really wasn't sure about this at the start. But then a friend of mine said something that just made all kinds of sense. She said, think of it more as a conversation. I like that.
I like that idea. I like it. And you're like, what?
Whoa,
I mean,
weird.
just weird stuff. Okay.
Well, also, I think it's worth noting too that like some some performers, artists, whatever, like I think it's hard for people, especially back then, to like, you'd say you go to a Garth concert and he's just flawless. Everything he says is like so funny, and he sets up the next song perfectly, and it's a very well-oiled machine. And I mean, you and I know this because like we've also done it. Your set is very curated. You know kind of exactly what you're going to lean into, certain things you're going to say to the crowd. So that's like a good or bad, it is a manufactured kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so I think people sometimes are taken aback when they see, like you're saying, like Garth in an interview where it's like it's not in the window of like an hour long or 2 hour long show.
Right.
It's like, oh, he's really just like a straight up weirdo. Like
he's just awkward, I mean, it's not even, he may or may not be a weirdo, but it's just so awkward.
Just a weird dude, like not in like a serial killer way.
No, just like he wasn't naturally gifted, with that ability to just kind of shoot the bull, Weird, I guess, phrase to use, but so
I'd rather shoot the bull.
And also what Tyler was talking about, when you're saying how everything's curated, it's what we did is we wanted to create. Well, I think everybody does. If you're a performer of any kind, you want to create an experience for the individual that's taking the time out of their day, paying the money to see you and see what they love, which is, if you're a musician, the songs, and they want to see it live. They want to see you invoke the emotion of the song. And, yes, they want to see some in-between stuff, talking to the crowd and all that.
Yeah.
You can do that 100% just out of the gate, not thinking about it each and every show. But I think even eventually you start to realize that, I'm not talking about every single thing that you talk to the crowd about is manufactured, but the more that you kind of pre-plan, the easier it's going to be. And it takes, it removes a lot of variables so that that same level of experience that you want to provide is the same. It's still going to be an A+, even if, Boo Boo's wrapped up in a curtain or Tyler's pedal board doesn't work during the first entire song because we got there late and the sound guy didn't even give us a sound check. Birmingham, Alabama. No, it wasn't. It was North Carolina.
And Thomas is dying in the back of the van.
Just so sick.
With pneumonia. Yeah.
Oh, boy. Anyway.
That was a
terrible show.
One of the worst
shows.
One
of the worst ever, yeah.
God.
I mean, it was just awful. So anyway, you want to, because again, you don't, for us, and I know we're the same as, I guess, any performer that takes it seriously, they want to provide that value to the people that are paying for it and utilizing their time and money. So,
well, and also I think like, I mean, you're doing like hundreds of shows per year, so it's like, I mean, there's so many times where, my family has been like, "Hey, Dad, did you ever tour here?" And I'm like, yeah, and they're like, what was it like? And it's like, it was a smoky club, and there was an alley out back that we loaded in and loaded out the show. So it's like all your shows start turning into like a blur. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
And so like your behavior, your stage presence, it's not even like, I don't think, an intentionally curated thing, but it just starts to like become this thing that you just do,
Yeah, and just like any song or rehearsal, you I don't really know how to. I think maybe if I explain this in one way, it's going to sound insulting, but it's like you already, in so many aspects of a concert, we'll say, you already kind of know certain points where there's going to be highs and lows, and where they're going to be where there's going to be opportunity to interact with the crowd.
Yeah.
And even though that's an unknown variable, what they're going to do or where they're going to receive it, you can kind of adjust accordingly. And it's all this not to say that we planned every single moment, but I think every artist, like I said, is conscious about the experience and wants to, give them a great experience. And you realize after a while that in a lot of ways, certain things can be sort of the same. Same, but different.
Right.
But still same.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like you see like I don't know. You see like a Foo Fighters like at Madison Square Gardens, and you're like, oh wow, he said like 50% of the things on here when I saw him in Atlanta.
Right. Yeah.
And it just becomes part of the show.
Yeah, it's just part of it. And then there's going to be like specific to the location. I mean, Oasis is doing that now. You know, any clip that I've seen, it's like almost exactly what they did in Chicago, but it's all good.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah, dude. Yeah. Which, by the way, they didn't really. I heard that they didn't really talk a lot at all.
I mean, they did, but it wasn't like. Well, let's not get into that. Okay.
Okay.
I mean, I'm just saying, like,
sore subject.
No, it was awesome, but I'm just saying, like, they weren't like egging the crowd on in a negative way. It was all just like really a ton of gratitude. We talked about it on the Patreon.
I just meant like easy. They just went like they didn't talk a lot in between songs. They just kind of went straight in. Yeah.
Okay, so all of that to say, we have to remember, celebrities are human beings. Mm-hmm. Some of them aren't going to be, despite the fact that they perform, they aren't going to be the I guess public speaker that you think they should be.
Oh, right.
Not every time, you know. Mm-hmm. Even in all of this, one of the things about this sort of urban legend or conspiracy theory that I really actually like is it kind of shows how they work in the internet age, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Take something ordinary like a tour schedule, an awkward smile, and add in ominous music, grainy screenshots. Ignore any of the boring data that disproves your point. For example, what about all the other hundreds of tour dates where there aren't missing people? Mm-hmm. So it's not like it's happening every single time.
Yeah.
And then present it in a way that makes you feel like you've uncovered hidden knowledge. Next thing you know, you've got, you know, a viral clip on your hands.
Right, right.
So all in, it's like, where do we land? Do I believe that Garth Brooks is secretly a serial killer? Me personally?
Yes.
Okay, Tyler does. I don't. It's an absolutely, like, fascinating, sometimes hilarious internet sort of campfire story for sure.
Mm-hmm. Right.
I mean, again, like I said, dude, you got to check out the social media page comments. It's like, hey guys, we just bought a new puppy. And then somebody will be like, where are the bodies, G? The families need closure. You know, that kind of stuff. Please return my grandma.
Dude,
I mean, it's
so
just,
funny.
and so that led to him like blocking Tom Segura and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, wow.
But let me, just for the fun of it, since we're kind of here in the moment where we're going to talk about what we think.
Okay.
I actually, as I was researching this, kind of came up with two thoughts. The first one is kind of the most obvious. The second one actually hit me first. But the first one is that, what if Chris Gaines, this persona and everything, is actually the one that's wearing the mask? In other words, Garth Brooks is the alter ego.
Garth Brooks
is
the Batman.
Right.
Yeah.
That's the costume that he puts on every day.
Well, also, dude, what if, if we look, we're putting our writing hats on. If we look at this in terms of like, sometimes like schizophrenia or like, sort of neurological issues that cause like your neuroses or your I don't even know how I would say, like, to where it becomes fractured and you have like alters or like multiple personalities.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it is interesting. And again, this is me just sort of throwing out a speculative narrative that's just like fun. This isn't really based on anything that I believe, but I do kind of like the idea that like maybe when he, if he is doing these things, he, to those girls or to those people that are his victims, maybe they're only seeing Chris Gaines and they're hearing somebody speak in an Australian accent. Like, to me, that's crazy.
Yeah. It reminds me of the movie Split.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Where he almost like physically changes,
Yeah.
And thinking about it like that, if I was Garth, I would lean into it and make a movie where that was the thing.
Yeah, I would too. Yeah.
And, of course, change the names and everything. I don't know. That would probably make people even believe it more.
Yeah, it's hard to tell. I think that, all the sort of like evidence, like the overlap and like the cities, it's like kind of like to your point, what you were saying earlier. It's like, yeah, but like all the cities he didn't play, I guarantee there's missing people.
Right.
All over the place.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like, to me, that's not like the best example. Now I will say, like, it is interesting the few like little spikes, like when he first bought that, you know, raw piece of land, and there was like a huge spike within like 2 weeks of like 6 people disappeared, I think the number was. Like, that gets kind of interesting to me. But like the whole sort of, you know, oh, well, he played in this city and a girl went missing. It's like,
right.
To me, that's not really like enough.
Yeah, let's talk about the Super Bowl.
Okay.
You know what? You don't know what I'm talking about? Dude, every year when there's the Super Bowl, that city has the highest amount of, like, you know, sex trafficking and people disappearing and all kinds of stuff.
Right.
So, you know, that's the thing that starts, you know, when there's elements of truth within these conspiracies, it lends more credence to them sometimes, you know. Now, here's another thing I was just thinking about this Chris Gaines idea. What if that it is dissociative, okay? And so Garth doesn't even know.
Yeah, exactly.
You
that's
know?
That's the word I was trying to say, dissociative disorder.
Well, you're welcome. Now, let me get to my other theory, which is my favorite, and it's the one that kind of, like, as I was reading about this and listening to this video about it, where they were just kind of listing all this data, I started thinking, like, okay, I don't believe that it's Garth Brooks, okay? But because let's just say Garth is this sort of like naive, good old country boy from Oklahoma, lives in Nashville. He became ultra successful. He just so happens to be massively socially awkward and weird.
Right.
But he'd never harm a fly, you know? And I mean, to be honest with you too, guys, I love Trisha Yearwood. I feel like she would have figured that out and got the heck out of Dodge a long time ago. I mean, come on, Con Air soundtrack, you know, 1997. What a year.
Unless she's in on it.
Maybe, but again, the probability, I don't know. My point is, I don't think she would be married to Garth for that long. Now, if he had sort of gotten a divorce, and then, like, I'm more likely to believe that Billy Bob Thornton is a serial killer than I am Garth Brooks.
Dude, he may be my favorite actor.
I don't know.
Dude, have you seen Goliath?
I don't know.
Oh, it's so good, dude.
Anyway, I don't want to get down.
But no, I agree.
You know.
Yeah.
But here's what sort of popped up in my mind. Okay, what if there was a member of his crew or a driver for one of these trucks that hauls all the equipment, someone that's been there with him from almost the beginning, dude? Because when you're in a band, you will kind of go through different crew members and stuff like that, or sound guys. But when you find that one that's just like, oh man, you can rely on him.
Oh yeah,
they're the best at what they're going to do. Chances are they're going to work there forever, dude.
Yeah, right.
So imagine that it's just that one of these folks. Think about it. He's got the credentials to get backstage. He's got access anywhere and everywhere. And then he can not only access these things, he can use that as leverage to lure victims in. Like, hey, I can get you backstage. He's got that badge around his neck. It's a serial killer's perfect cover, bro.
That's what I was saying in the beginning. Yeah.
They're constantly traveling. There's always going to be new victims by the tens of thousands every single night.
Is it typically like females or
I think so, yeah.
Mainly,
and I think
girls.
there were some like males and stuff. I think that's the other part about the data and everything. It's just like kind of pretty broad.
All over the place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know, man. If there is something nefarious going on here, I kind of feel like that would be the most realistic possibility. It's somebody that, you know, again, doesn't really have to interact that much with Garth or Trisha for that matter. They're kind of just in the periphery.
Right.
But every time they are around him, because I imagine if you're that evil, it would be almost too hard, man, to fake it like that if you're in the spotlight. Like, I just don't think that's possible. Now, you can kind of do that on a smaller scale, convince your family or convince the people you work for that you're not the most evil person in the world, right? So I feel like that's the most probable thing, and that's where I leave you.
Yeah, I mean, I think my sort of I don't know, like my take on it is, I don't think there's enough sort of legitimate sort of data. But with saying that, to your point, especially throughout like the 90s and earlier, I mean, it is the perfect sort of occupation to have for making that happen. Because, like I was saying before, it's like as far as your whole crew knows, they're just pulling groupies.
Right.
Like they're just bringing you like girls for the night, which is like, unfortunately, it is a thing for like sort of single degenerate dudes on tour. And it is what it is, but it's like it is the perfect cover because all they know is like, oh yeah, I handed some backstage passes to like some pretty girls in the front row, and then they disappear, and then to their knowledge, like, oh yeah, Garth hung out, and then they parted ways, and that's it. And then we go to the next town and do the same thing. Like, it is the perfect cover for the public and for the crew that's like also sort of involved in even getting the girls. But I don't know. I mean, I think it's funny. Like, it's such a funny thing, and it is strange because like what he said up at the top, like all the Chris Gaines stuff and like some of the evidence that you have is just strange. Like, but I don't know. I mean, to me, I think it's just like a funnier kind of thing.
Yeah, and the funny part too isn't so much like, oh, there's somebody being blamed for being so evil. It's mainly just like all of those elements that just make it so easy to like immediately believe,
Yeah, right.
And then you see these interviews. I'm telling you, man, we're gonna get out of here, and you're gonna go home, and you're gonna start watching these videos of Garth Brooks interviews, and you're gonna be laughing for the rest of your life.
Oh,
because it's just like, oh man, so awkward, and it's something that I never noticed before. Never.
Yeah. That I think that was again going back to that. Like, that's why it's like so funny because like if you grew up in that time, like he was such a household name. He was such a big deal. He was such a wholesome guy. So like when I first heard it, it was like it's just so funny to put this guy that's in your mind. But then again, like Woody kind of broke down, like then you start thinking of all these like little weird things. Like, I mean, the Chris Gaines thing as a whole,
that's a big one.
So strange. But boy, I do love the idea that's his disassociative serial killer alter.
Yeah. I love that it's an Australian accent because if I was going to create a new character, I'd have an Australian accent too because it's so cool.
I mean, did he do that because of like Keith Urban was becoming famous?
I don't know, man. I don't even think. Well, maybe that was. I don't know.
Maybe it was. Maybe he was trying to. I don't know. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Anyway, if you would like to weigh in and give your opinion on is Garth Brooks a serial killer or not, you can do so over on our Instagram. Drop us a line in the comments. Shoot us a DM. Tell us about your own urban legend or your own, maybe like a story that we haven't talked about yet where, some other squeaky clean celebrity is a serial killer. We'd love to hear about it. You can also do so if it's more long form over at thatwouldberadpod@gmail.com. The even better thing is to leave it in your own voice over at our website, thatwouldberadpodcast.com, where you can leave a voice memo. Tell us about that urban local, or that local urban legend, that ghost story that's in your area. Maybe you have your own like Panther lady. We want to hear about it. We really want to hear about it in your own voice. And it may make an appearance in a future episode and become part of That Would Be Rad history. We appreciate everything that you guys do for us, especially your support over on our Patreon, the Rabbit Trail. It's more of what you love. And, first and foremost, it's just like the absolute best way to show your support for what we do. And it helps us keep the lights on. And it just means a lot to us. Tell that weird friend about the show. Leave a 5-star review. That really, really, really helps. I mean, if you have 2 minutes today of free time, get out there and leave a 5-star review. It really, really affects whether new listeners or new ears are put onto our show. And yeah, we appreciate all the ones that have come through so far. I guess that's about it. Woody, you got anything else?
I think
all
that's
right.
it, man.
Well, we love you. We appreciate you. And as always,
be rad.
That's the way it goes. Clouds in a time where I just needed some sunshine. You were already dead before you became a ghost. You always said our future would be a parade of flowers, but now all that's left is a single rose. That's the way it goes. Shh.